The Northwest Passage. The Northwest Passage is a navigable pathway between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans by way of the Arctic Ocean. This pathway, once unnavigable due to impermeable year-round sea ice, is now routinely traveled by ships as a result of the melting of the sea ice due to the effects of global climate change. An increase in the Arctic's water temperature from heat emitted by trapped radiation has caused the ice to melt, creating shortcuts for ships and boats traveling between Europe and Asia. The environmental impact has been mostly negative, but the economic impact for the community is seen as something very positive. Also, the shortcuts reduce the travel time and the amount of fuel needed, reducing ship emissions. The negative impacts of the Northwest Passage on the environment and associated health implications. Number 1, polluted waterways. Although shorter routes may reduce the amount of ship emissions, shorter routes will increase the number of ships using the waterways for economic gain. This increase in water traffic contributes to the increase of ship emissions and increases the potential of accidental or illegal release of oil and other hazardous and noxious substances polluting the waterways. Its implications are polluted waters expose humans to toxins and contaminants that can be a precursor to major medical issues. Number 2, destroyed ecosystem. The melting of ice glaciers has a devastating effect across the entire food chain. Consider the simple issue of algae. It grows on the underside of sea ice and is eaten by krill, which is then eaten by Arctic cod, which in turn is eaten by seals. Take away the bottom ring of this food chain and all sorts of unintended consequences could be realized. It also creates an opportunity for the introduction of new marine animals and species that was once prohibited due to the ice glaciers. The introduction of new marine life, plants, and other living things can be detrimental to the current ecosystem. Its health implication is a destroyed ecosystem reduces food quantity, quality, and accessibility. The result is a reduction in food supply. The third negative impact is polluted air. Ship emissions, particulate matter, are linked to asthma, heart attacks, hospital admissions, and premature mortality. As a government agency, we have done our due diligence to ensure that the negative impacts of the Northwest Passage are mitigated. We have looked at reliable research data and solicited the expertise of an environmental health scientist. During that interview, when asked about climate change's effect on health, she responded by saying climate change effects on health are really broad and far-reaching. She also mentioned that in 2015, the U.S., along with several other countries, signed a legally binding climate pact that outlined action plans to reduce global warming. Global climate change is real, and countries around the world have taken notice in implementing action plans to mitigate its effects. Based on all the information collected, it is imperative that we do all we can to protect the health of the community. In doing so, we are making the following recommendations. These recommendations will ensure that the health of the community and their environment will be protected at all times. The following recommendations are: number 1, stricter emission rules for commercial, cargo, and cruise ships to regulate air quality. Number 2, fine escalation. Number 3, soil and water quality limits to ensure ecosystem and coastal land preservation. And number 4, air quality testing and monitoring. Additionally, I included some recommendations for enforcement. Number 1, annual routine testing or monitoring of ships' emissions and soil, water, and air quality. And number 2, ships randomly chosen for an emissions test not more than twice a year. In the event of an oil spill, major weather event, accident, collision, or at the discretion of a governmental entities, testing should be conducted immediately and then monitored per policy. Thank you.